F3 Podcast, where we discuss all things that pertain to faith, family, and finances. And remember, no subject is off limits. We are your host today. I am Dr. Lionel M. Blair, Sr., and I'm sitting next to the woman that birthed my junior.
Stop that.
It's a wonderful thing. You gave me a son,
Yes,
baby.
but they can kind of put
You
two and
gave
two together
you
and
gave
make
me a
four.
son.
They can put two and two together and make four.
You gave me a son. She's the reason why I have a junior. She is the sainted mother. She is the glorious, the wonderful, the imperial,
Oh
impeccable,
Lord.
the glorious, the wonderful, imperial, impeccable. She's the most perfect wife in all of the world. This is Saint Jasmine the First,
Welcome
Dr.
everybody.
Jasmine Blair.
Welcome everybody to the F3 podcast. Shout out to all of our first time viewers. We're so glad to have you with us. Listen, be sure to like, subscribe, and share. Hit that notification bell so you'll be notified every time we drop a new episode. And as always, remember, no subject is off limits. You can drop it down in the comments, or if you don't want anybody to know it's you, click that link to find out more about supporting. And in that process, you can drop us a voicemail. So, we have a topic that is part of that honest conversation that you hear me talk about every once in a while. Because, as much as we love the Lord and we love Jesus and we worship the Lord, this is one of those things that sometimes we don't really want to admit, or maybe we don't know how to address. So, we are going to talk about church burnout. And this is a viewer requested topic. What happens when you're just tired of church? And I'm paraphrasing, when you're just tired of church, you're tired of doing this, you're tired of doing that. You love the Lord, but you're just sick of doing because you spent so long doing. What do you do? So before we answer that, we want to talk about the recipe to church burnout, the dynamics that center around creating this unique space where you just love the Lord, but you're just tired. Now, I'm gonna pass it over to you. The first thing that we're going to talk about is the lack of delegation.
Mhm.
The lack of delegation. When you have leadership that does not know how to delegate, that does not know how to spread tasks out amongst people, you have one or three, great hopes of the great sake that they just do any and everything, and they're doing four and five and six and seven and eight jobs, and it's exhausting. Now, you generally see this in smaller ministries, but a lot of times, believe it or not, you will still see this in big ministries, either because they
Mhm.
don't want to train people, or because they're cheap, or because they're trying to give the impression, because of their ambition, that overworking people is probably how they got big, but it's not a system they can sustain. So why do you think some leaders don't have the art of delegation? Why do you think they pile everything on three and four people, or really two and three people, instead of spreading it out?
Either it's a lack of help present in and of itself,
Mm-hmm.
or the desire for control.
Hmm. I didn't think about it like that.
Because see, as some people figure, as long as they are in control, things will run smoothly. So you have some leaders that are afraid to train people.
Hmm.
They're afraid to train people. Now, you got leaders like us. We was looking for people to train, but it was just like,
No, I don't want you. That's
yeah,
another episode.
yeah,
Cause just cause somebody's saying, "Ooh, me, I got it. Pick me. I can do it. Me. Pick me. Pick me. Pick me."
yeah.
That don't mean you need to pick them. Actually, we'll do that on a different episode, because there's several reasons why you shouldn't pick me. But go ahead.
So if a leader is not willing to relinquish control, then you're gonna have that everything I have to dictate in everything. Like, and then if they do delegate little tasks, they micromanage you while they do it.
Mm,
They micromanage you. And we got to remember, even God is not in control of everything.
no.
He created the whole entire earth and all of humanity, but God is not in control. I know y'all love to say God is in control, but that's not Bible and that's not true. Because if God was in control, everybody would be saved. If God was in control, everybody would obey God.
Right,
If
right.
God was in control, would nobody be sick? If God was in control, a lot of you would not have the devils that you have. If God was in control, there would not be the injustices and all that stuff in the world. So God is not in control. So if God is not in control, then why is it that you feel like you have to be? Uh-oh. It ain't Jesus. So yeah. So if you feel like you have to be in control of everything, you know, see, there's a difference between being in control and being in charge.
Right,
So you got to learn how to be in charge. Be in charge means you oversee the operations of everything, but you don't always be in control of the day to day.
right.
You know, so I think that when it comes to specifically leaders,
Mm-hmm.
you got to be willing to you can't be scared to relinquish some kind of control. And sometimes some leaders are controlling for honestly they're for noble reasons. you know they don't want nobody to mess nothing up,
Mm-hmm.
or they want it to be done right, but then you teach them how to do it right.
Right,
Give them space to kind of mess up a little bit. Give
right.
them give them room for mistakes. I mean, my God. you know so show a little mercy, because you can't do everything and then gotta lead, then gotta preach, and then gotta counsel,
Yeah, it's
and then gotta
exhausting.
do it. Man, listen, that mess will run you ragged. I've seen pastors. I remember I met one pastor in the store. He was, and I told him, I was in ministry and everything. He was an older gentleman. He was,
Mm-hmm.
he was like, man, he was like, man, you a pastor?
Mm.
He was like, man, God bless you,
Oh Lord.
brother. It ain't easy. It ain't easy. Like, this man
He sound
looked
like he was
like,
about to throw in the towel.
yeah, that man was miserable.
No.
That man talked to that man for like 5 minutes, man. He was miserable. And if I wasn't already in ministry, that probably would have discouraged me from going into it.
Right.
Because he was like, brother, you, you got a church? You like, man, God bless you, brother. so so burnout is when you doing everything
Mm-hmm.
and you don't relinquish tasks, you don't relinquish a certain measures of control. You don't relinquish, all of that, and then you feel like you got to do everything and be in everything.
Well, see, you talking about the leadership standpoint, and that's good. But I'm talking about the lay member, the
That
laity burnout.
okay, but with the way that you made it sounded like leadership.
No, 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 no. Okay, so we're not talking about senior leadership. So in
Okay,
this case, it would be like third, fourth, fifth chair leader. Maybe somebody who leads a department or leads a Bible study,
right.
or but they're not like in charge, in charge.
Yeah, they need to learn to delegate too.
But not only that, why are they in that space? Because outside of
Mm,
delegation, which is good, outside of delegation, what you have with a lot of that, this is where, and then maybe it's the senior pastor that needs to delegate. So that's kind of the angle that I was addressing. You see what I'm saying?
mm.
The senior leadership keeps throwing it on
Oh, throwing it on them.
yes, on the
Okay.
trustworthy person,
Oh
and
yeah.
they scared to say, "Look, I can't do all
Oh yeah.
this."
Okay. Okay. Now from that perspective, I can talk from that perspective too.
Yeah.
You got to know when you can't do no more.
Mm-hmm.
You got to know your limit. And you're gonna have that honest conversation with your leader. Like, listen, I got a family, or listen, I got a life, or listen, I got this or that and the third. I got other business I got to take care of. I cannot continue to bear this burden. It's not that I don't want to serve. I want to serve. I want to continue to serve. But this is too much. And that's going to position your leader to where he or she is going to be forced to spread out the duties,
Mm. Right.
or 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 step back on some things. Because some leaders they bite off more than get chewed. It's like they're saying your eyes get bigger than your stomach. Your ambition
Come on.
causes you to try to be more than what you are.
Mm-hmm.
This is why I love our model of ministry. You want to know why? Because we do what's in our budget to do.
That's a different episode.
Yeah.
But what one of the things that is unique about our model is that we have not created, because we've counseled and we've ministered to so many people and really
Yeah.
got them reconciled back to Christ after church burnout. We have created a model. I don't want to say it's burnout proof because things vary by people, but we have created a model that gives people a healthy sense of balance. And we're still in the vein of our assignment, but with this model and the structure that we have, we remove the possibility of burnout unless you're just not managing your own stuff. And we remove the inability from people to be able to truly be with their families. Whether you are volunteering or whether you are on staff, when you're in an environment where you're at church 6 and 7 days a week, you see what I'm saying? It leaves you little time to balance and manage the rest of your life. And that's really the core of burnout. Some people are simply, now some people are just poor stewards, but some people are simply at church too much.
Yeah.
You're at church on Sunday, you're at Bible study on Tuesday, you're at prayer on Wednesday, you at Friday night testimony service, you at rehearsal Saturday, then you're doing it again. You don't hardly you at church just as much as you're at work.
First of all, the Bible says that they didn't just have services.
Come on now.
They fellowship. They broke bread. They went from house to house. You understand what I'm saying? If you having this much church, but the saints are not even acquainted with each other, in a community kind of setting,
Mm-hmm.
they're not acquainted with each other like that. They're not fellowshipping with one another. They're not hanging out with one another. They're not breaking bread with one another or anything like that. But you want to have a bunch of church services. To
Mm-hmm.
me, I mean that looks like a unhealthy model of domineering or control.
Mm-hmm.
You know, um, because the early church, and we say this and we teach this all the time, there was not just people who just gathered and had a traditional service, as y'all
We
call
have
it.
made church literally something they didn't even make it in Acts, and I don't like that. I don't like that at all. They was not in church every day. Now they fellowshipped every day. You see what I'm saying? They studied the apostles' doctrine, but they was not in these long services that kept them from fulfilling their obligations and the rest of their life.
Yeah, and we have made it into something that is not, and I think that's why the church is losing its power.
Because we've made it exhausting. It's another job. It's like another job
Yeah,
for a lot of people. Even if you're in a role, it should not be another job. Unless that is a paid role, you should not be in a role 20, 30, 40 hours a week.
all these services and nobody's really being changed. You go to a place, get a good word, get a prophecy or two, and then it's just like,
And everybody's tired and irritated, don't want to be there, ain't in the spirit because they ready to go because you've had this person at church 6 days in a week. And we, as the body of Christ, need to recognize sometimes that can be the cause us to be partially responsible as the body for tearing people's families apart. Nobody should be at church 30, 40 hours a week unless you are actually on full-time staff. And even then you need to have some set hours or some fluctuating hours. If you are not on full-time staff, you should not be at church 40 hours a week. That is insane.
yeah,
Even if you're volunteering, pastors, y'all need to learn how to tell some people, listen, we love you, we appreciate you, go home and be with your family.
hmm
Go home and be with your family. And so now we're going to take it to the next level. Even some of these itinerant ministers
well,
that are traveling here, there, and everywhere. If you are spending 180 plus days not at home, and your family is not traveling with you, you have a major problem. You have made ministry your mistress, you've made ministry your idol, and you are more concerned about being seen than having a solid family. How
Yeah.
in the world you traveling, you spending more days traveling to ministry than your child spending in their public school?
Hmm.
How? Where do they do that at?
I've seen leaders be gone for like 2 months and 3 months, and the wife at home with the children. How?
Mm-mm.
How does that last?
It don't.
You know, and the wife, she just humble and she just just takes it or whatnot. No, 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 no. Go home.
Mm-hmm.
Go home. Go home. I can't imagine being away from my wife for a whole month.
No.
And she definitely gonna be away from me for no whole month.
No, not a month.
Yeah, not a month. A week. You should go away for a week. Not a month.
But see, there again is the difference, because we made the decision to really do ministry together.
That's true.
And you have a lot of couples where they don't. That's a whole nother episode we don't have time for today.
Yeah.
But we made the decision to do ministry together. We've made the decision, we're going to travel together, we're going to go places together, and we're going to stay connected, and not allow ministry to cause unnecessary lengths of separation, because that's just not the will of God. God is not going to tell you this person is for you, this person is your destiny partner, then have you marry them just to leave them at home while you out and about all the time.
Right.
That doesn't make any sense.
It don't. It don't.
So how do people recover from church burnout? People, oh, I'd have served, I'd have been on all the committees, all the boards. I'm tired. I love the Lord, but I don't feel like going to church. I don't even feel like fellowship with nobody at all. What how does this person then get on the road to recovery?
Resign.
Well, no, they already resigned at this point. But yes, if you haven't already, you need to resign. But we talking about the people that's already resigned. They're at home, like the Grinch,
Mhm.
and they don't even have no accountability partner, no prayer partner, nothing. They just at home like the Grinch.
You have to
What's their road back?
you have to slowly integrate your way back into
And by back, we
church.
don't mean back into the same situation that
Yeah.
caused burnout. We talking about back into the place where you are fellowshipping amongst other believers, whether that's at a local congregation, whether that's a group at your house, or how you going to somebody else's house, or y'all at the park, whatever. Because you got to be in fellowship. So what's
Yeah.
the road back?
I would say number one, find your fellowship
Yes.
of believers. And really begin to sit under the word, be taught, be imparted into, be refreshed,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and then allow the Lord to take his time
Mm.
and reintegrate you back into a ministry role, and that may take time. And then also, when you start doing that, don't take too much on yourself,
Mm-hmm.
because you don't want to make the same mistake you made before.
Right.
So don't take too much on yourself. Know your limit. Say, hey, this right here, is my cutoff point. I can't go beyond this right here. You understand? And if you do that, you'll be safe.
Mm.
You'll be safe. You know. So yeah, find your group of people. Find your group of believers. Whether they're local or abroad. It really integrate into that particular group of people. Sit under that word, be taught, and look for ways to serve, but slowly integrate your way back into serving, and know
Right.
your limit when you serve. Don't come in just thinking that, oh, I need a position.
No, you need to just sit and heal, and hear the word, and
Yeah,
listen to the words of sweet Jesus before you start doing anything else.
yeah. So that would be my counsel, my word of advice.
Make sure you deal with whatever voids in you that led to the burnout,
That too.
because some people over serve and over exert themselves in ministry because they have emotional wounds that they have not healed. Maybe you want to be noticed. Maybe you want to be recognized. Maybe you do it because that's the only way you feel you can earn love and appreciation. Deal with what wounds in you led to that first. Now, the next step that you need to do is you need to, in combination with what you share, you need to construct the boundaries that's going to keep that from happening again. You need to learn how to say thank you, but no thank you. Hey, listen, I'm honored. That's great. You want me to be over the youth ministry, but right now, yes, I have a number of years of experience, but right now, I'm in a place where I'm recovering from burnout. I'm good just hearing the word. Hey, if there's a special event that's maybe every now and then, I love to volunteer and help out that way. But I'm not in a space right now where I really think it's a good idea to commit to something regular and ongoing. And just that is a lot because we as believers have a hard time with that. We have a hard time having conversation. We have a hard time worrying about somebody going to be upset with us. We have a hard time just say it. Just say it. And nobody should be mad. Anybody that, and if they do get mad at you, actually you need to leave because that means that they're not actually concerned about the well-being of your soul. Anybody that's watching over your soul, that is loving you, that is feeding you and leading you and guiding you will understand that. Now, for some of y'all, depending upon where you're at, you might be in that place too long. And then you really might have, an apostle or prophet kind of, encourage you with a strong warning, like, okay, now you've been healing from this burnout, but now you crossing over from healing and recovering to disobedience because you're staying stuck, stagnant, and complacent. Mm-hmm. So that's important for those that need that. Because some of y'all, well, I'm just taking my time. It's really just organized rebellion. Yeah. And God ain't having that either. So any closing remarks?
Oh, it's a road to recovery.
Yes.
It's a road to recovery. And it's something that you take on day by day. But eventually, the goal is to get you back active without you bearing a burden that you should not bear.
Right.
Or, you carrying a load that you were not meant to carry. Know your limit. It's okay to know your limitations. It's okay. Knowing your limitations will keep you from burnout. Knowing when it's time to stop, when it's time to take a break. You know, People who normally burn out, they normally become like workaholics. You gotta kind of like get out of that work. Nothing wrong with working, but don't get into that workaholic.
Yeah.
Kind of kind of like disposition about yourself, and then it's just like you don't have time for nothing else. God wants you to have a certain balance, I believe.
Absolutely. Well, listen, we hope you guys have enjoyed this episode of the F3 podcast. Shout out to the viewer that gave this topic. This is definitely a great topic. And we'll probably end up following up on this because it's definitely needed. Yeah. Tell us down in the comments what you think and let us know if you have any other suggestions. And hey, if this has been you and you have a successful recovery from church burnout story, we want to hear from you. So tell us down in the comments what steps you took and what you did to be able to overcome it. Follow us on IG at King and Queen Blair. And until next time on the F3 podcast, goodbye.